Hey gang, Mark Stedman here with a quick video to show you some new functionality that we added to the calling list. If you haven't watched the first calling list video, I would suggest you go and do that just to make sure that you understand how that works. I'll put a link to that on the screen. But the new thing that we've added here is a drop-down that lets you sort the list by either due date or by P2V. So a couple folks had mentioned that they prefer to use the list either by overall P2V score or by due date. And so this will let you do that either way. So I've taken the liberty of logging in as Earl because he has more phone calls than I do. So what I can do here, I'm currently set to see all my events and I have them sorted by date. So you can see they start here January 14th. It sorts them from oldest to newest. In other words, it starts with the ones that are overdue and then moves forward. But some of you don't care about those due dates, so we've put this in place. You can drop this down and you can switch it by propensity to volunteer. So this is going to take propensity to volunteer as the first criteria for sorting and then secondarily by the date. In this case, there's actually a bit of a data issue in that we've got the same call queued up 3 times. That's why there's 3 with P2V of 72 all on the same due date. But if you did have people that had matching propensity to volunteer scores, it would group all those together, like all these 18s are here together, and then after that it would sort by due date. So you can pick your preferred way of working that way. You can switch those back and forth. And of course, one thing I would strongly encourage is that you also make use of the events dropdown so that you can filter by a specific event that you're actually making calls for. So if I was making calls for, let's see, I think we've got some calls queued up here for, right. So start by sorting down to the event that you're working on, and then you can implement the second level of filtering, or rather ordering, so that you can see that exactly the way that you want to see that. So I hope that's helpful. The other thing that we did also in response to some requests was we have switched around the activity generator so that you are no longer forced to have to create activities with a due date. So if I go in here and I grab an event, open that up, I want to queue up some phone calls for it. I'm going to start recruiting team members for that. So I go to activity generation. We're going to generate some phone calls. I can search for all the people that will qualify for phone calls. I have here set activity due date. It does default to being turned on, but if I uncheck that, see this grays out, and what it's going to do is it's going to create those phone calls with no due date. So they'll sit in your queue. They'll be sorted solely by P2V score. So if you prefer, if you don't find due dates to be a useful way to structure your work, that's totally fine, and you're welcome to create those without a due date and just work through them in the queue as you wish. So if you are in a position where you have lots of calls queued up and they just don't make sense, or they've got due dates and you don't want due dates, or you got duplicate calls or something like that, reach out to me. I can clean up your call queue for you, and we can get those calls generated the way that you want to see them, so that you don't feel like you have thousands of calls that are not ever going to get made because they're overdue or late, or they just don't make sense anymore. So feel free to reach out. I can clean those up for you real easily. I hope that's useful. I will also put a link here for the video for how to use the activity generator. So if you didn't watch the original activity generator video, that will walk you through how you're supposed to use this and how that's going to help you get a good solid team for your event. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.